Like, you respect that somebody believes
That's
you're a compulsive liar.
that's a
You
very
can't just
respectful. That's very
that's not
respectful opinion to
respectful.
have.
That's not respectful. Like, you should be learning to better yourself instead of
Well, I
just saying,
am,
"Oh,
but
that's respectful." What are you doing
what
to
I'm
better
saying is I
yourself?
have lied in the past. I'm doing my best to not lie. That's
But
pretty
you
simple.
literally, like, okay, so you've lied in the past. What have you done very recently? Because, like, in the last few months, you've literally, like, blatantly lied. Like, that whole boxing fight thing. It's funny because catching you in a lie is the
What is
easiest
the
thing in the
what did I
entire
lie about
world.
the boxing fight
You
thing?
said that you had $1,500 in boxing, like, to pay for
Oh
boxing
no,
lessons.
Mike Klum said on my live stream he fudged those numbers. He fudged those numbers. He didn't get those numbers from me.
Alright, we're trying out something a little bit different for this video. I'm sure you're sitting there curious as to what's going on. So I'm going to put some gameplay in the background for this one. Just this one-off video because basically this is a debate between Mutahar and Boogie on Review Tech USA's channel. I got it from Snort Hogan, so I didn't have to download a 6-hour long stream and chop it up from there. And there's nothing really going on in the background of the video, so I thought I would actually put something there for you to watch. Who knows? Maybe all of you watching will be like, wow, you know, I really miss playing Civilization 4 from 2005. I'm really glad that Saturated Content decided to bring that back, and for that I can say, you're welcome, and adieu. But to the pressing point of this video, Boogie, the habitual liar, is gonna lie again. No, what? He's not gonna follow through with what he says? He's not gonna back it up? That's crazy. You get out of here. No, you get out of here. That's just silly talk. And essentially, when the Mike Klum documentary dropped, Mutahar made a 35-minute long video talking about all the aspects of Boogie and why he doesn't like him. And Boogie comes in here and acts completely childish, doesn't really back up anything, and in the process, sort of throws Mike Klum under the bus. The money issue will be a repeated thing. He's going to say, what, money? Money? What do you mean? That he just made all those numbers up. Yeah, I know he was here for 9 months and he looked at my bank statements and all that stuff, but you know, he just put whatever he wanted to there. Yeah, I'm sure, Boogie, you're a very credible source, so I have no other reason but to trust you. But at the same time, give me a break.
I didn't pay attention to the numbers like most of the text. Like, for example, he said that I was on a drug that I'm not on. Apparently, one of the drugs he wrote the name of, I'm on like a muscle relaxer called bupropion or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote like bupropion, which is a drug people take to recover from opiate addiction. Oh, thank you, baby.
So now you're implying that the documenter that you worked with is a liar. So
No,
that brings up his
no,
that
I'm just
brings his
saying.
entirety into that brings his entire integrity and the future of
Yeah.
his channel
No,
into
I'm just
question.
saying. I'm just saying that he made a couple mistakes when it came to the numbers, and made a couple
So
mistakes when it came to the text.
before that documentary came out, why didn't you call him up and say, "Hey, can you fix that mistake? It's pretty fucked up."
Because I didn't
Because
catch
it
it.
is pretty fucked up.
I didn't really read any of the text. It's not something I was.
Imagine spending 9 months of your life on a documentary that is condensed down into like a 45-minute long video, and you don't even bother to double check the validity of the things that are going on in the documentary. And then when people react to the things that are said in the documentary, you just revert to, well, it's not true. What do you mean it's not true? You were there, you watched it, and you approved it, and now it's, well, and yeah, you know, I just didn't really care about those specific things. Like the money and the medicine you're taking, those are kind of big things to glance over. It'd be different if he said, oh yeah, you know, the job or the medical bills that he pays for, they're $350, not $250 a month. That'd be a different thing. And he's just like, I'll just glance over that. Boogie in this debate is going to even argue the validity of how much money he had in crypto and how much money he lost and how much money he has now and how much he has invested, X, Y, and Z. He's going to debate all that stuff. But it's not a great look on him to just turn his back on Mike Klum immediately. And I brought this up in my previous video, just sort of asking why Mike Klum was granted permission to do this. I know Boogie needs attention and whatnot, but I mean, I guess it worked out. The documentary has over 3 million views and Mike Klum has over 70,000 subscribers. So, like, it worked out. But at the same time, it's like Boogie has zero self-preservation methods. You know, you take him away from the internet and electricity for one day, and he's a goner. He's gone. He can't find his way back.
I did at the beginning of the year. I've got about, well, crypto's up right now, so I'm up to about 9. But about last week, I had about 6.7. I got about.
I don't understand why you don't cash that out.
Because you only take the loss when you sell it, and like I guess the $6,000 could disappear tomorrow, but that's not really gonna make or break me. But if it goes up, I could definitely use the money. You know, if it goes down 1,000, it's probably not gonna make a huge difference.
But do you understand
if it goes
how
up
fucking
10,000,
wild that is? Like, you're complaining about money, and how much is it worth right now in asset-wise, like according to your app?
About 9,000 or so.
So $9,000, right?
I cash it
how
out
much
as
is your
I need
mortgage?
I cash it out as I need it. So at the beginning of December, I'll pull out 2,000 and pay my mortgage. It's like a savings account. I just treat it like a savings account. Except this savings account makes me money sometimes.
It's not a savings account because it's literally the most negatively volatile asset you have.
I don't know. It's held really steady for the last 2 years.
Yeah, because it lost 99% of its fucking value.
Right,
so how low can it go?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
What do you mean?
That's why I leave it in there. How low can it go? And then and adds another 60%. It goes from 250,000 to 700,000. And then I went to bed, and the asset lost 80%, 90%. You know what a market crash is, I'm sure. And so the market crashed, and you know how your stocks are worth a certain amount at one point, and they're worth different at another. So I woke up the next day.
Yeah, I know how the stock market works. You're in the crypto market. This is a completely degenerate operation, but yes.
So Boogie tries to frame this whole thing as well, don't feel sorry for me. Why would you feel sorry for me? Well, maybe it's because you consistently ask for money all the time, and I pointed out in the documentary that clip where you and your girlfriend are sitting at the table timeout. Well, I really hope I can go back to streaming full time. I really hope my YouTube can be full time again. That's you begging. That's you asking and seeking sympathy. And he's over here. He mentioned in the documentary, well, my ex-wife used to take care of all the finances, and now that she's gone, it's like, what do I do? And it's like, maybe I'm just sitting in this like privileged position of understanding how basic, personal finance works. But how can you possibly think that keeping some amount of money into crypto and claiming it's a savings account makes any sense whatsoever? It's an absolutely bizarre hypothesis. And the funny thing is, you can have like a high yield savings account. I don't know about every place. Some places require you to have a basic minimum that you have to deposit into. And if $9,000 that Boogie has in crypto is all that he has in savings, air quote, he might have to take a lesser high yield savings, maybe around 4% versus 5%. And even still, at least that's a consistent income of interest. You're consistently making that 4% on the money that's in there. Versus Boogie's mindset is, well, it just went up a little bit. I got $3,000 in the past couple months of Bitcoin going up. Well, guess what? In 3 more months, it might be $6,000 down. And then when mortgage comes up at that point, and you're like, well, I have to take money out so I can pay my mortgage. Well, now you have $3,000 versus $9,000. So you take $2,000 out to pay your mortgage. Now you only have $1,000, and the ability for that to increase substantially is much less. The more you take out of it, the less likely it's going to increase to some astronomical number that's going to save you, versus taking all of it out and just putting it into a savings account to build interest. He's an idiot, but we already knew that.
Well, I put it back into Ethereum, which is a really safe investment. Ethereum and Bitcoin are really safe investments once they're at the bottom of the market.
Jesus Christ. Bitcoin and Ethereum are safe investments. So now you had $200,000. You couldn't put any of that money into like the index, the S&P 500, when literally buy the average of a tech stock and like let that fucking raise year after year.
And Mutahar will clarify that this isn't financial advice. I'm also not the greatest financial consultant. I'm able to manage my own personal finances and not go into mega giant super dumb holes of money spending all the time. But the fact that Boogie sees Ethereum, it dropped 97% in the past 5 years, that's a good investment right there. You want to know why? Because in the last 6 months, it's gone up 3%. Oh, yeah, baby. I mean, I'm just throwing out numbers here. And that's the thing. You can literally invest into a really safe long-term ETF or index fund, a bond that will, yes, you won't be able to make crazy money in 6 months or a year, but over time, you build your wealth that way. And Boogie, completely oblivious to it, you would think that with how much time that he can just sit there and spend on the internet each and every single day, that he'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna look up some personal finance stuff. I'm gonna learn some things. But no, he hit lightning in the bottle with, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the shit coins that he spent on, that he's just gonna keep going back to the well. It's just not gonna stop. It's just gonna be, oh, we're grinding it out until he has no pennies left.
Why don't you downsize to like an apartment or like a smaller property?
Well,
something?
unfortunately, if I want to stay near my doctors and I want to stay near my medical centers, I need to stay in Northwest Arkansas. And
Northwest Arkansas doesn't have any like apartments for you
they
to go
do.
get?
You can get apartments here for as cheap as $900 to $1,000, but then I would have to kick out one of my roommates, who's very close and dear to me. We've lived together for 25 years. He's my best friend. He's like a brother to me. I don't want to lose him, so then we're gonna have to pay more for a second bedroom.
So why don't you and him split the rent with each other?
I don't talk about that. He's got his personal life and his he's other than just he's got his personal issues.
And this is the thing with Boogie. He won't outwardly say it, but his best friend, his roommate, he's his caretaker. Until his girlfriend came around, that was the guy that made his meals, that mowed the lawn, that cleaned the house, that did his laundry, did all that stuff. That's what the guy did. Boogie does nothing, in case you're unaware. He literally does nothing all day. He might record some crappy video that's going to get 6,000 views on his channel, and that's all he'll do that day. And then he'll cry and he'll moan, and he'll go on Twitter and he'll get in fights with people, and he'll go on these streams. He has zero interest in trying to better his lifestyle at all, and it's fine. You know, he's at a basically no return point in his health. So it's like, if you have to keep your friend around in order to do all this shit, then it's like, I guess I could sort of see it. I mean, I could beat the drum for as long as I want to say just lose weight, get healthy, and do it yourself. But he's never going to do that. Documentary proved that he's a narcissist who believes that because he, at one point 12 years ago, was popular on the internet, that means that he shouldn't have to do anything for the rest of his life. And surprise, surprise, the rooster's coming home to roost.
And a huge chunk of my money goes directly into equity because this loan is so matured at this point. So at the end of the day, I would rather keep the home as best I could, take care of the people that I can take care of, keep building equity. And I honestly think it puts me in a tightrope situation where it makes me stream more. It makes me make more YouTube videos. It makes me try harder.
See, I don't really see that. You've been on a tightrope situation for the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, it's never been this tight. This is as tight as it gets.
You realize the housing bubble could burst, right? And what happens if it bursts? Then your housing price is worth less than you actually.
Right. But like I said, if I sell tomorrow, I clear up $225,000 after repairs, closing costs, new carpets, new paint, all this stuff. And I do need that money. I'd love to have it. Where do I go?
You downsize into like an apartment or something, man. Like something
condo,
small.
or a
Like I
small
said,
condo.
Yeah, like a condominium, exactly. Like
That
a
you
2-bedroom
own.
condominium. That's
But
not
if
going to
you-
be too much.
But if you look in Northwest Arkansas, there's not a lot of options.
And this is just Boogie's life. He's just gonna complain, make excuses for why he can't do anything, and he'll keep going down into the spiral. Nobody really cares about Boogie. Everybody sees him for the degenerate loser that he is. So he's not gonna rake in the money anymore. It just isn't gonna happen. And he might capitalize a little bit off this documentary for some time, but nobody wants to watch him talk about She-Hulk. Nobody wants to watch him talk about Comic-Con or anything like that. Like, that's not why people watch Boogie at all. He just has no appeal to a broad audience outside of the fact that he's a locale. And he can't really capitalize off of that because any attempt to try and be self-aware of being a locale is just gonna look deceitful, and he just isn't a trustworthy source, so nobody will try. And the fact of the matter is, goes back to what I just said, which is he thinks he's entitled to certain things. So he's going to be like, well, I'm going to live in my house because I'm entitled to it and I want to do that. How dare you think that I have to downsize in order to save money? I mean, he screwed up so much that he should have paid off his mortgage. But let's hypothetically say he sells the house, does all these things. Let's say he makes $170K. That's his take-home money after paying off his remaining mortgage and all the expenses, XYZ. He can buy in Arkansas a decent condo to live in and own it. Now he'll still have to make money in order to pay all the utilities and everything surrounding that and HOA fees and whatever. But he'd be able to do it. But he thinks he's entitled to living a more lavish lifestyle. Even though he's not living an extremely lavish lifestyle, he still is living way over his means.
But I sat down with my CPA.
Who said that?
A lot of people. Like, people, every time I mention I have a friend who has a job, they're like, "You don't have a friend."
Who says that? I don't say that.
Well, like I had a friend in PR, and they're like, "You don't have a friend in PR." I have a friend who works for the feds. You don't have a friend that has a Fed. So when I tell you, I know
we're not those people. So I believe you have a friend.
Well, I do have a CPA friend who's been helping with some tax shit, and we sat down one day, and we've discussed a bunch of different things. The most promising thing, and this is something I don't want to do, and I talked about this when Tom was here. He wants me to get on a disability trust because I am disabled. I've been disabled since 2007, and I can draw benefits. The problem is we would have to take all my existing assets, put it into a trust, and then I could get back on Medicare and I'd have health insurance again.
So this is once again Boogie trying to garner sympathy from the audience of, well, the people on the internet say I don't have any friends. And honestly, I don't see that from people. I never assumed that Boogie didn't have friends. I never assumed that he was completely shut in and didn't do anything outside. I honestly thought, yeah, he probably does have a decent group of friends because I was aware of his D&D and his Magic the Gathering friends. So that doesn't surprise me. But the guy who is perpetually online, constantly seeking his name out online to see what people are saying, shocker. A guy with no subscribers in the YouTube comments with no upvotes is gonna say, ooh, Boogie's a stinky poo-poo and he has no friends. Like, of course Boogie's gonna seek that guy out and pretend like that's the large swath of everybody that thinks about him.
But if anyone else made a documentary like this that had big financial discrepancies, they'd be...
Yeah, you'd be fucking mad. You'd be yelling at us. You'd be like, "Where'd you
No,
get
I
your
wouldn't. I'm so
information?"
used to you being wrong about me. I'm numb to it at this point.
How am I wrong about you?
I
called about these discrepancies. That's what I'm
talking
asking
about
you.
in the past, man. And
how have I been wrong in the past? Please explain exactly how I've been wrong in the past.
My 18-year-old girlfriend's, and we've met for the first time in June.
And legal is legal, and that's all that matters to me. But you don't think?
No, I mean it matters to me. I wouldn't want to date an 18-year-old. You know,
why? Don't you think that's like kind of dumping your trauma on her?
I mean,
he doesn't care.
So Boogie outlandishly claims that Mutahar, he's spreading lies about him. 18-year-old girlfriend? Who said that? Well, Mutahar was referencing Keemstar, who he believed had inside knowledge about this relationship because Keemstar claimed to have talked to Boogie about his girlfriend. And Keemstar's girlfriend claimed that Boogie's girlfriend was 18. Now, Boogie clarifies that the first time that he talked to his girlfriend, she was 19. And then Boogie right here says, no, 18, that's gross, that's yucky. What is the difference between 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, Boogie? You're 50, what's the difference? What is the difference? There is really no difference between a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old with your age range. There isn't. And so you just stand on your high horse and pretend like, ooh, 18, yuck, I never touch a girl like that, yuck, is so stupid and moronic. You're a pervert and you're a freak.
Did I say that? I said people said that she was 18 in the group chat that you were referencing.
Read it again for me real quick,
When you tell people a girl you met just turned 18, it's
I never did, though.
When you tell people a girl you just met,
but I never did, though.
That person is
I never did, though.
Keemstar said it to us.
Have a good night.
Okay, so you're saying, all right, cool. Then he just fucking leaves, I guess.
Did he really just leave? Oh, he really did.
He left because he gets rolled. That's what happens. He gets fucking bodied.
So typical of people that will never take advice, and this is the thing that anybody who still supports Boogie, and I even see it in my comment sections at times of people saying, well, why does it bother you? Why does it affect you? Because Boogie does stuff like this. He lives in his own little echo chamber, his own little world, and then when he gets exposed, he comes out of that bubble and says, I'm going to change, guys. I can't believe I didn't see this. I need to be better. But then he's going to revert right back and say, I didn't do this, guys. I didn't do this, guys. See you later. Sayonara, and think that he won the debate. And think that, well, these guys were just assholes, and I just need to move on. And it's like, dude, you're a pathetic loser. You're a freak and disgusting. It's like, compared to a lot of the other locales, like, Boogie gets under my skin so much more than the others because he thinks he's, like, morally and intellectually superior to everybody. Regardless of what he says, that's how he behaves. And the funny thing is, he is a regard, absolutely moronic. And that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.